Come on, come on. Woo, woo. Yeah, feel good, don't it? This is for warm days that drift away while the sun sets and the ghettos play. Long nights on a hot summer's block where you sip your brew and never touch your glass. This is for eyes that cry like yours and learn to smile again. Rise above the pain.
Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome to the channel. I'm just sitting here chilling and bleeding, just chilling and bleeding. Just getting my rest on. And I want to do this quick little video about menstrual supremacy or menstrual empowerment. This is technically episode 2 because I did a video on it before. I'll be sure to put the link in the description and or the comment section so you guys can see the first one. But this is part 2. All right. And so what inspired me to do this episode is I'm on my period. Okay. Tia Flo is in town for just 3 days, thank God. And yeah, I've noticed that something, I had an epiphany just like not too long ago. And I was like, I was like, I actually, this is my first period since I did the big chop. And I did the big chop for the blood moon, the full blood moon eclipse. I think it's a full blood moon eclipse in Virgo. Sorry, the full moon blood eclipse in Virgo. So on March 5th, when the energy was still, strong, I had did the big chop. I shaved my head, and that was a beautiful release ritual. Burned my hair and all that. Like, it was cool. Like, y'all can check out that video too. I'll put the link also there as well. So I'll put all the stuff that I'm referencing in this video, I will put it in the description box and or the comment section. So just look in the comment section for those videos. So anyway, that's what inspired me to do this video today, because my period is, since this is my first period since doing that release ritual, and I noticed that I have a heavy flow. And I'm not the type of girl to have a heavy flow. When you first start your cycle, of course, but I'm not the type of girl that has like a very heavy flow. You know what I'm saying? My menstrual only lasts for like 3 days. Sometimes it's 3.5, a little bit on the 4th day, and then it's done by the midday. But technically my period is only like 3 days. And I never really had cramps. Now, growing up, before I had my baby, oh my God, I would have the most horrible, diabolical cramps. I mean, they were debilitating. I remember like just being picked up from school early, laying in the nurse's office in a fetal position, rocking back and forth, crying. Like, the school nurse used to feel so bad for me, girl. Like, I had my own little spot when I would go, like, oh, here you go. Okay, yeah, all right, girl. You already know where your spot is. I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it was really hard. But crazy enough, after I had my baby, after I had my daughter, I didn't get cramps anymore. I did not get cramps anymore. So I was just thinking a couple of minutes ago, reenacting myself giving birth to my daughter and feeling that big whoosh when she first came out of me, feeling that whoosh. I feel like an ocean just came. I feel like an ocean just came out of my coochie. Like, that's what it felt like whoosh. And then I think maybe because of me having a baby, maybe it stretched everything out. I don't know, to the point where I don't have bad cramps like how I used to before I had my child. So I was really surprised this month of me having like some strong cramping. I'm talking about cramping in the middle of the night and everything. I'm like, damn, I'm a tossing and turning and shit, like, having strange dreams when you're tossing, just, holding my stomach and I'm tossing and having strange dreams, and you know what I'm saying. So I'm just like, damn, this is crazy. But then I had to remind myself. Spirit nudged me and was like, hey, remember, like, bitch, come on now, you shaved your head. That was a huge release ritual that you did on the full moon blood and eclipse in Virgo, my sun sign or whatever. So I was like, okay, so this is a lot of release. This is a lot. So I think the reason why my period is extra heavy, and I noticed it yesterday. Okay, mine just only 3 days. I noticed it yesterday. It was just extremely heavy to the point where I bled through my clothes, and I didn't even realize that. or whatever. So I was like, damn. Now I was wearing some Korean herbal pads. I don't use any of the products like American pads and stuff no more, because you know that a lot of those products, the tampons and the pads that we used to do and shit like that, those are all, they're tainted with bleach, and they can cause TSS, toxic shock syndrome, from long-term usage. So a lot of those products that we put on our very sensitive nether regions are with, I got bleach in it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, scratch that. We're not doing that no more. So I feel like there's going to be a class action suit for us women when it comes to that in the later years. Probably more sooner than you think, but I do think that there's going to be some type of like, class action suit or whatever that we can kind of like cash in on when it comes to this shit. But anyhow, I use Korean pads and shit like that, and they're herbal pads, so they actually really help when it comes to the cramping. It does help. They have herbs inside of the pad and shit like that or whatever. So I love the herbal pads, and since I've been using the Korean herbal pads, I don't ever want to go back to American pads no more. I'm not interested. Unless they're like maybe like panty liners or something. Like, I'm not completely against it, but I just use more Korean herbal pads. I use more herbal sanitary napkins more than anything else. And then I also use period drawers, and they actually have real period drawers, not the old school ones that we wear with our pads and stuff like that, but they actually have like actual period underwear that have big thick pads that are sewn inside of the fabric, and you can wear it. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, yeah, my flow has been really, really heavy, and I was just like, damn. And then the cramping, I'm just like, wow, I feel like it's like a blast from the past. I feel like I'm like 12 again. Like, I don't know. But then I was like, this has to be, because this is like, when you're going through your cycle, your menstrual cycle, and you're bleeding and all that stuff, this is like a huge release. Spiritually, it's a huge release. So this is my first period since doing the big chop, you know what I'm saying, since shaving my head, and that was a huge release within itself. So this is my first period since then, because I had shaved my head in March 5th. So my cycle just started on March 23rd, and no, March 24th. No, yeah, my cycle just started March 24th, just yesterday. So I was just like, damn. I think it started on 23rd, but right around the spring equinox. Some women have started their cycles exactly on March 20th, and then some of us started it a little after, some women before. But I started spotting on the 23rd, but it wasn't fully, you know what I mean, there yet until the 24th, which was literally yesterday. So I think my body is releasing a whole lot. I'm feeling not to talk to anyone on the phone or anything like that. I feel people's you know how it is when you're on a cycle, you're twice as psychic, twice as intuitive. You can pick up on a lot of stuff, especially in the dream world. You can pick up on people's energy that's trying to reach out to you. Your intuition is very, very heightened. You're very potent. You're literally a walking ritual. You feel me? So I've learned to embrace my period. I used to not stand it, but once I got more deep into my spiritual journey and I learned a lot of things, I was like, wow, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful time. I've taken spiritual baths with my blood and everything. It was beautiful, beautiful bath. You know what I'm saying? So I make a whole thing of it, a ritual of it, a whole thing of it. I just, lay down and, get a lot of rest, which is what I'm doing right now. So I just want to do this video just to kind of reinforce that, to basically reinforce menstrual supremacy or menstrual empowerment, which is the title of the video. So I just have to remind myself that my body right now, I'm not going to complain about these cramps. I'm not going to complain about this heavy flow. I'm glad that it's coming out of me. I'm grateful for my cycle. It's a beautiful, powerful time, and I'm glad that everything that's been released is coming out. It's flowing out. Okay. And it's so symbolic because it came around the spring equinox, which is when, that's the reset, our new year. So it shows how aligned our bodies are with the seasons, how our period aligns, our menstrual cycle aligns with the seasons and the seasonal changes and the moon phases and all of that. And you know what I'm saying? So I know that since doing my big chop and shaving my head on March 5th to March 24th, finally having my cycle since then, I know that it's another release. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably the reason why. Spirit just put that in my mind. Like, that's the reason why, bitch. Like, like that's the reason why your shit is so heavy. Because I don't really get heavy periods. I have like the second day is probably what I would consider is like my heaviest day, and the first day is really light. The second day is the heaviest day. The third day is really light. The fourth day it's pretty much just a little bit, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, obviously I did do my Googles just for confirmation, and it was talking about some spiritual themes behind having a heavier period. So this says energetic release. A significantly heavy flow symbolizes that your body is releasing a massive buildup of suppressed emotions, toxic energy, and stress, allowing for a fresh start. And I'm just so grateful to have gotten my period around the spring equinox. It's perfect timing. Yes. Okay. Happy Aries season, by the way. Mwah. I am a unapologetic Aries apologist. I don't give a fuck. Love you guys. Love on the bod. Okay. All right. So anyway, deep emotional healing. It can be seen as an indication of profound emotional wounds or old traumas are resurfacing to be processed and released. Yes, a lot of old things have kind of been coming up randomly in my mind. I'm like, what? Okay. So yeah, that's been coming up a lot lately, and in the dream world as well. Whew, okay, dream world has been heavy lately. A spiritual purge. Some people believe that when we cannot process emotional stress, our bodies hold it, and a heavy period acts as a physical conduit for this spiritual release. Wow, so grateful for that. Really grateful for that. Heightened spiritual connection. A heavy, painful, and a very intense period might also signify a time to reconnect with the divine feminine or your own intuition, urging a period of rest, deep reflection, and turning inward. And that is what I'm going to be doing while you guys watch these TikTok videos. That's what we're going to be doing for real. Yeah, I'm going to be just laying down, probably listen to some, binaural beats for the divine feminine healing, something like that, and just lay down. Usually I listen to some kind of audio book or something like that. I listen to two different things. Like, I'll have frequencies in the background, then I'll have like an audio book, and I might be listening to music, and I can process all three at the same time. And I'm just gonna just lay down. I've been drinking my golden milk, especially now, just to help with the cramping and shit like that. Just drinking something warm, spicy, drinking something, like stews and soups and things like that or whatever. But yeah, I get the typical feelings, hungry, horny, homicidal, the 3 H's. But also at the same time, I also am very psychically sensitive, highly creative, highly feisty. It is what it is. I'm a woman, and I just absolutely love it. I've grown to love my period. Like, I like to eat a lot of spicy things, a lot of red things when I'm on my period. I just think it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like, at first, like, I couldn't stand it, but once I realized the power behind it, I'm like, whoa. And I started doing little things, like I said, spiritual bath while I'm on my period with, with the blood and everything. And it's just absolutely just gorgeous. And when I put the blue anil up in there, it's like a beautiful purple water. Oh my God. And I even love the smell too, because it's like, when you eat certain things, like maybe like fruits and stuff like that, like it comes out in the period, the period smell. And it's like kind of like a metallic, fruity, I don't know how to describe this smell, but I've grown to like the smell of my blood. It's like a fruity, metallic, but with a hint of spice type of, something can smell spicy. Like, that's, it comes through what you're eating or what you're drinking. So if I'm drinking pine and ginger all day, you could only imagine how good it smells, like the blood smells or whatever. So there's many ways that women use in the spiritual community use their blood. There's many different ways that they incorporate it into protection magic and this and that. So you will see that with these videos. And yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get into it. I have a couple of TikToks that explain the spiritual meaning behind having heavy periods and what the significance of having a period during the spring equinox. Enjoy the show.
Day 1. The uterus begins contracting to shed its lining. Blood flow starts as tissue separates from the uterine wall.
Day 2. Contractions become strongest. Blood vessels compress, increasing pain and causing heavier bleeding.
Day 3. Reduced blood flow and oxygen to the muscle trigger intense cramping pain.
Day 4. The uterus continues clearing thick tissue through steady contractions.
Day 6. Only light bleeding remains as the uterus relaxes.
Day 7. The shedding process is nearly complete.
Day 8. The uterus has finished shedding and begins recovery.
Day 9. The uterus is stable and preparing for the next cycle.
If you have consistent heavy periods, it may be because your body is asking you to process heavy emotions. Hello, I'm Amanda and I help you become best friends with your body. Lara Bryden, a naturopathic doctor, says that our periods are our monthly report cards, and I really believe that. I just had my period and it was really heavy, like unusually heavy. And I realized, well, it makes sense because in the last month I'd experienced a lot emotionally, and in my luteal phase, my premenstrual phase, I processed a lot of traumas and emotions and shame around asking or feeling worthy, asking for what I need in relationships. And we know energetically and spiritually that the luteal phase is for processing the emotions of the month, and the menstrual phase is for shedding, letting go. And so I was like, yeah, it makes sense that my menstrual phase, like I was letting go of a lot. So it was really heavy. And so I had this download that heavy periods are likely because of two things. One, either you had a very emotional month and you processed a lot of it in your PMS phase and now you're just shedding it. The second, and the first one would be kind of inconsistently heavy periods, right? So my periods aren't usually this heavy, but when things come up, there's a lot to shed. So not consistent heavy periods. The second reason, if you have consistently heavy periods, this may be for you. So we know that our emotions are stored in our bodies, right? If they're not processed, our emotions are stored in our bodies. It doesn't just go away because you don't think about it anymore. It's not stored in your mind. It's stored in your body, your physical body. And emotions are just energy in motion. So the energy is stored in your body. And if you have a lot of unprocessed emotions, your body is going to hit max capacity. And so your body's going to just start shedding. If you have prolonged bleeding where you're bleeding for weeks on end, or if you have heavy bleeding consistently, this is your body just trying to release the emotions because it needs to make space for more emotions if you're not processing them properly. So heavy bleeding or prolonged bleeding isn't your body being annoying or being a nuisance. It's your body crying out for help. It's your body trying to communicate with you. Listen to it. Where are you not processing emotions? Where are you not processing traumas? Where are you not doing the work to help your body, to support your body so that you can feel healthier, feel lighter, feel more free, feel more connected to your body? Become best friends with your body.
So I just wanted to respond to this message right here. When it comes to our menstrual cycles, a lot of women are going through heavy purges when it comes to their sacral chakras. You have to understand, right, that blood is powerful because it holds memory. And not only that, ancestral genetic memory is held in the blood. Remember, we are recycled parts of our ancestors, especially the women. The ancestral women feminine line. So because May has been a really major month, massive energetic shifts, a lot of women are going to be experiencing purging through their menstrual cycles of ancestral baggage, let's just say. Anything that no longer resonates with the ancestral line is now being purged through you, especially when it comes to the women and the divine feminine. Some of you may experience heavy cramping, heavy blood flow, blood being darker than usual. Some of you may even experiencing releasing clots. Remember, I am not a health expert. I am literally just giving the messages of what my ancestors are telling me. So if they are severe, again, go and seek medical assistance, okay? Also, for those of you who do experience reproductive issues, being told it's really time for you to start seeking herbalism as a natural way of healing. On the time of your menstrual cycles as well, your dreams may be very, very vivid. So it's important that you write them down and you log them. Hearing that the information in this dream or these dreams are going to be very crucial and very beneficial for you. Just remember, just as you are releasing through your menstrual cycle for your ancestors, you are also releasing for yourself. So it is important that you are writing down or doing the practices to release things that no longer serve you at this time, as you will not be carrying any of that baggage with you through to this new form of shift that we're going through, to this new form of experience and living that we are entering into. Okay, I hope that this has answered your question.
Greetings from Ago. When you perform cleansing as a woman, you perform cleansing, maybe a ritual bath or normal cleansing ritual, then all of a sudden you are praying, you invoke the spirits to come and cleanse you. Some of you that are connected to water, you do what? You invoke the spirit of the waters to come and cleanse you, and to cleanse you from defilement, to cleanse you from spiritual heaviness, and your what? Your monthly flow comes out. It means that your body has what? Finished the work. The water has renewed. The water has done its work. The water spirit has done their work. Now it is your body that completed whatever you did.
If you are on your period right now during the spring equinox, I genuinely don't think you understand how powerful that is. 3 things are happening at the same time right now. The spring equinox just hit, which is literally nature's reset button. Earth is shifting, energy is moving, new cycles are beginning. This is one of the most potent manifestation windows of the year. We also just had the new moon 2 days ago, which is already manifestation time. The time for planting intentions and calling in what you want. That energy is wide open right now. And then on top of all of that, you're bleeding. Your menstrual phase is when your intuition is at its sharpest and your connection to your own energy is the deepest. Ancient cultures called this your oracle time. They literally called it that. You have the earth resetting, the new moon opening up a new cycle, and your body at its most spiritually receptive, all at the same time. If there was ever a moment to sit down and get quiet and tell the universe exactly what it is that you want, it is right now. Write it down, say it out loud. Your manifestations have triple the power behind them today. Don't waste this. Do not waste it.
Women are their most spiritually powerful when they are menstruating. When you are on your moon cycle, your intuition is heightened. Your spiritual abilities are heightened, and your healing abilities are heightened as well. This was very well known within Native American tradition. During certain ceremonies or rites of passages, if a woman is menstruating, she is not allowed in the ceremony. The process that she's going through is so powerful that it can actually change the energy, the ceremonial space. They actually say that women are already going through their own ceremony because it is a form of spiritual release, releasing old emotions, old wounds, things that no longer serve you.
Y'all want to know what I love about being a woman so much? We get our periods. Wait a minute. Don't scroll. You don't know what your period is, do you? You don't know what your power is capable of, do you? When a woman is on her period, she get that once a month medieval feeling. Y'all gonna think we evil when we on our periods, but whole time our bodies is here. but our spirits is on a higher dimension. See, the powers that be allowed a female body to be here to create, but our spirits to be able to travel and amplify and magnetize our aura. You see, the body reflects all of the power that we really are gaining from those other dimensions. That's why we be in so much pain. Respect that woman's temple. It's sacred as fuck.
Let me get this straight. You let these males and their gods convince you to waste your pain. When you're cramping, when you're on your period, when you're bleeding, you're experiencing a different reality than everyone else. This is because pain puts the brain in an altered state of consciousness. Pain is just concentrated energy, and you get an abundance of it every single month. If your body has enough energy to double you over in pain from the cramps, then your body has enough energy to collapse a timeline and bring you your desires. But the average woman is indoctrinated, so she just wastes this opportunity. She misdirects the signal, wasted lamenting, being ashamed, even disgusted, right? These male-centered religions, they want you to feel ashamed and disgusted by your menstrual cycle, by your bleed. They want you to feel dirty for a reason. It's by design. They call you unclean. If they didn't, how else would you know that the frequency of your voice changes during menstruation? Because your vocal cords thicken up. If you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. If you're busy working against that pain instead of with it, then how else would you know you're supposed to use the altered vibration of your voice to speak affirmations into that pain, to transmute it into abundance, wealth, timeline jumps, whatever you want? You are never supposed to experience a low like the one you experience on your period. You are never supposed to experience that without a high following it. This is a law of rhythm. But these male-centered deities that a lot of you are adamant about worshiping, they want you sedated and ashamed and feeling unclean during this time. They need you to be disgusted by the bleed. Because a woman who knows and adores her womb, an organ that bleeds every single month and doesn't die, a woman who loves that and honors that, a woman who knows how to command that power, that pain, she's a threat. She's a threat to this matrix. Now lock in and listen to me, okay? Next time you're cramping, get in the shower, let the water flow, right? Because you're flowing. This is symbolic, okay? This is symbolism. This is important. Water also holds memory. I want you to repeat after me. I am transmuting this discomfort into a flow of abundance. What was once pain is now power. What was once lack is now overflow. Tweak this and specify whatever abundance you're seeking, money, whatever you want, okay? Be specific. Disclaimer, this only works if you do. This only works if you believe that you're the operant power. This only works if you honor the life bringer that you have inside of your body. You are the God of your reality, and there is no God above you.
So a lot of times women who know their power during their time of the month and even beyond that, they honor those energies and spirits that come along with her period by, putting out fresh flowers and some water, taking care of herself, using that time to be creative or think and rest and just take care of yourself, and just honoring all the good things in their life, and writing down things that they want and things like that. This is literally the time that you're supposed to do it, because you are the most powerful. Okay. And so instead of ignoring it and saying, oh, I'm in pain, I'm suffering, and this is the worst time ever, it's kind of like, being discriminative towards all those quote unquote spirits, ancestor energies. Some people call them familiar energies.
The truth about your period blood, what they never told you. Let's talk about your period blood, not the sanitized version, not the shame they taught you, the real story. Your period blood is powerful. It opens portals. It can attract spirits. It can bind a man or destroy your own life. Because when you bleed, you become a walking ritual. That's why they don't let you into certain sacred places during your cycle. Not because you're unclean, but because during your bleed, the veil is thin. You are the portal. You can override rituals just by being present. They don't ban you because you're weak. They ban you because you're too spiritually powerful to control. That blood you bleed, it's spiritual currency. It holds memory. It holds magic. It holds your energy blueprint. Here's what some women have done with it, and what you need to know. 1. Love spells. Women have been feeding their period blood to men for generations. It binds your womb to their soul. But if that man isn't aligned with your destiny, you're sealing your fate in destruction, obsession, misalignment, abuse. 2. Protection spells. Smearing blood on doors, windows, mirrors. It seals your space because it carries your DNA. It becomes your shield. 3. Manifestation work. Add a drop of your blood to a spell and it becomes a Growl command, not a wish. But don't seal anything in blood unless you are sure, because blood is binding. 4. Womb and shadow healing. Mix your blood with herbs and clay. Anoint your womb. Call your power back. But be ready. You will cry, you will dream, you will remember things you buried. You will remember who you are. But hear this clearly. Using your blood is not a game. If you use it with anger, you curse yourself. If you use it to control, you become the prisoner. If you're not spiritually grounded, don't touch this work. They told you periods were dirty, but what they really meant is you are too powerful to control while bleeding. Every month you bleed, you carry more spiritual power than most people will ever hold in their lifetime. Protect it. Understand it. Use it only when your spirit is clear. You are sacred, and so is your blood. Comment. My blood. If this spoke to your soul. Follow for more sacred
spiritual meaning of bleeding during full moons.
Right now, during the full moon, whether it's a couple days before or a couple days after, or you typically find yourself bleeding around the time of full moons during the year, this is for you. The spiritual meaning of having your cycles during the full moon. But first, my name is Sade. I speak about all things spiritual. If you're into that type of thing, go ahead, give me a follow. Now, I need all my red moon witches to pull up to the front. If you're bleeding during the full moon cycle, if you know nothing else, know that you are definitely tapped in to your divine feminine energy. There's a good chance that you're a shaman, a healer, an intuitive, an empath, something. Whether you think it's a coincidence or not, if you're bleeding during a full moon, this is a powerful time for release for you. If this is happening to you, you're also being called to really purge from something very toxic in your life. And in my experience, a lot of times it is someone who's very toxic in your life. There's also a good chance that there's some kind of karmic cycle that you have been on over and over again. And every time that you are bleeding on that full moon cycle, you're needing to really release it. Like you're getting that push to really get it done. So if this is you, there's a good chance that you need to tap into your spiritual team and allow them to assist you and help them help you release whatever really doesn't serve you anymore. It's really a time to create and rest as well. Nurture yourself, if you will. And if you are one of the people who have been struggling to release something or someone from the past, this is your time to really tap into maybe even your dark feminine energy. Pay attention to your own discernment and how you feel, but either way, you're very powerful and take advantage. Let me know below who's bleeding right now. Like, follow, save, and share it to your spiritual friends who have their cycles during the full moon.
The power of your period, and it's not just in the cramps or the mood swings or the cravings, it's the blood itself. And here's the thing that nobody told you. Where is your blood actually going? Like, where's your blood going actually? Think about it. In the toilet. The septic system, the chemically treated septic system that your town has, that never touches earth. And I used to think that was normal, till I started doing some serious research on this shit. It's profound. So we have indigenous cosmologies, ethnographic data, depth psychology, quantum models, and what I have done and found has changed everything I know about your menstrual cycle, your bleed. So there's actual science backing the fact that menstrual blood is not a waste product. It is powerful, it is a receiver, and how we handle it actually affects us more than we know. How we handle it as well also affects more than just us. So the Wiwa of Colombia call it pegamento. It's a sacred payment to the earth. So the Hopi prophecy says when women stop giving blood to the earth, men's blood gets taken through war. And this is not spiritual fluff, this is literal divine feminine wisdom encoded into cultures worldwide, such as the Uruk, the Kalasha, the Ituri forest hunter-gatherers. Through my research, I've come to understand the methodology, the ritual tradition, and the actual practice of returning blood back to the earth, and I have been practicing for about a year. It's a very simple protocol. I'm going to put like a quick guide on how to do it, but it's very simple, and I also added it in a couple of the papers. You don't need a whole ceremony. Immediately give it back to the earth. That's it, you're just returning it. So women who have done this report their periods become less painful, and they feel more connected. They start receiving downloads, having prophetic dreams, having creative breakthroughs, intuition. And I can confirm this shit, because the amount of downloads I get now is crazy. Even just me thinking about this topic. And I found the research, and it's true. Also, 48 hours before you bleed, that's also a very receptive window for women. Your biochemistry opens, and the blood carries that information out. So if you flush your blood, the circuit is broken. There's no return. So you don't want to break that circuit. So I actually, of course, wrote a paper on it because it's real. It's called The Blood That Receives, Menstrual Flow as Portal to Non-Local Consciousness. There's like over 30 resources, indigenous cosmologies, the neuroscience protocols. It's actually at the top of my website right now in the research section. This is very real stuff. It's very fascinating to me. And next, I'm going to be talking about the moon phase and what it means on your first day of your first bleed. So whatever phase the moon is in on day one of your bleed, like next month, like what does that phase really mean on a deeper level for you? So that will be coming next. But yeah, girls, your blood is so friggin' sacred. And the other thing too is like the whole vampire facial thing. I have not gone to that extent of putting it on my face. But the research behind that is insane too. The stem cells, there's so much stuff in your blood that is, it's a portal, like it creates life. Like you need to always remember that, like how sacred it is. But yeah, power of your period. Let's get into this because it is quite the deep dive.
This is confidence, baby. Walking like the world already know.
What happens to the menstrual cycle during a Kundalini awakening, or when you are on a spiritual path, spiritual enhanced practices such as yoga, meditation? What happens? As a woman, you might have noticed that your cycle is disrupted, either it becomes longer or that it no longer falls on the no moon or Amavasya day for it to come into place when you're releasing, when your Apana Vayu, which is the downward Vayu, is forcing everything out. So we are going through a rebirthing. Every month, whatever is to be released goes through a release, and to release, we need Apana Vayu, which is the downward. Now, when we are going through Kundalini awakening or spiritual practices, there is a tendency for the energy to rise up, for this air to rise up, which is the Udana Vayu. When the Udana Vayu is rising up, it clashes with the Apana Vayu. When there is a clash between the two, our menstrual cycle starts to get disrupted. Now, you might have heard that if you are no longer having your period or your menstrual cycle during the new moon phase, and you have now shifted to the full moon, which is the fullness of you, which is usually when you would have been at your most fertile, right? When that shift happens, in some tradition, these women were called the medicine women, or they were called the women that you go to, the oracles, the witches, the women who are in touch with their higher senses, because they have reversed the flow so that all their flow is now upward. Then it doesn't come out anymore in coinciding with the phase of the moon. When you have a Kundalini awakening, the energy is rising. Now, when that energy is rising, for a particular amount of time, you may go through these menstrual disturbances. Now, as you get more comfortable with this and you heal whatever there was in this area, whatever there was in your sacral chakra, everything that is related to reproduction, everything that is related to our creativity, you may find that it now does flow when it's to flow during the new moon phase, and that your periods are now within your particular cycles. You could have cycles running from 28 days to 32 days, but that you are within your cycle and that there is no more of a disturbance caused to your menstrual cycle. The pains that you experience, every discomfort that you experience during your period as well, begins to heal itself as you start to heal the womb. Now, a womb of a woman is connected to her connection with creativity, her connection with femininity, her connection with womanhood. And in the age of Pisces and before now, when women were oppressed, and then after that, when women decided to take on the role of getting into the workforce, and then as all of those shifts happened, there was less support for women generally, right? So you're competing with a man for the same job in a workplace, for example, and if you get your period or if you become pregnant, there is still a very, very wide discrepancy in the way that the sexes are treated. And in a way, there is no equality because we are biologically very different and our functions are also very different. But so as you go through your awakening process, right, you will find that for a while, and depending on the path you choose, if your path is one that I no longer want to reproduce, but you completely go onto the other side and you want to keep rising and rising and rising, either your menstrual cycle will come back to normal and it will flow when it flows, or it'll flow in the reverse position, whereas it'll flow when the moon is at its fullest as opposed to when it's at its lowest. So when it's the lowest, when there is no moon, is generally when we release, because that's the time for a downward movement. All my love for all of you beautiful women out there going through this. Please do drop me a line and share your own experiences. My own experiences are quite deep in this regard. I used to suffer from a lot of things because my creativity was very, very stifled since I was very little. So I always suffered from very painful periods, endometriosis, polycystic ovaries, and the lot. Everything stopped, right? Everything stopped. All the pain, all the discomfort, everything stopped when I stepped into my creative potential. I did. So can you. So much love. Take care.
What moon phase your period currently falls under and what it says about your life. So back before technology, before birth control, all the women in the village would all have the period at the same time and they would sync together under the moon. Now if your period falls under the new moon, this is the white lunar cycle. Traditionally this is known as the most natural cycle of the earth and is known as the mother phase. So it's not necessarily that you have to be a mother or you feel like you want to become one, but it's where your energy is projected outward and helping others and maybe focusing on your relationship rather than inner work. Then there's the red moon, which is getting your period under the full moon. This was the priestesses, the witches, the healers, the medicine women. And it's actually unaligned with the natural cycle of the moon, which suggests maybe you're going through a phase of self-discovery, you're a healer and you're living life in a different way to the norm. This phase is all about tapping into that inner, creative and sexual energy. Then you have the waxing moon, which is known as the pink moon cycle, and this is when the moon is going from darkness to light. It's finding that divine feminine, that inner power. And finally you have the waning moon, which is known as the purple moon cycle. This is when the moon's going from full to dark, and this is known as a time of retreat, of reflection, and could be when you're doing a lot of shadow work and working on them inner issues inside. Lots of rest. Not that any cycle's better than the other, it just knowing your cycle and being able to track your period is very insightful and can tell you a lot about the phase where you're at currently.
One thing about it, that blood fast is gonna hit every single time. And if y'all know what I'm talking about, then let me put y'all on game. If you want your intuition to go crazy, if you want to break any attachments or close out any cycles or boost up that spiritual protection, then go on a blood fast. Go on a fast while you are on your cycle. And if anybody did you wrong and if you want to get that revenge back, go on that blood fast. Do the blood fast. It's gonna work every single time. Make sure y'all stay hydrated though. We don't need nobody passing out. But other than that, that blood fast go crazy. And if you know, you know.
Something magical happens when the new moon aligns with your menstrual cycle. When the new moon arrives in dreamy Pisces, the veil between the spiritual and physical world gets very thin. Pisces is the sign of intuition, dreams, psychic sensitivity, and emotional release. And the new moon, that's the dark womb of the sky. So if you happen to be on your menstrual cycle during this Pisces new moon, you're syncing with one of the most ancient rhythms of the earth. Your body is literally mirroring the sky. Your bleed becomes a portal of release. Old wounds, old grief, old identities, old timelines. Pisces energy dissolves what you've outgrown. This is a powerful time to rest, journal your dreams, take spiritual baths, and ask yourself, what am I ready to surrender so that the next chapter of me can be born? Because the new moon in Pisces doesn't push you forward with force. It washes away the past like the tide, so the next version of you can rise from the water. If you're bleeding during this new moon, your body isn't just resting. It's dreaming the next version of you into existence.
Shake my hand. Come on, boys. Won't you shake a poor sinner's hand? Yeah.
But seriously, she's not kidding. So for anyone who's been following me for a while now, you've probably seen my video from a couple months ago on blood and how the blood is the liaison between the soul and the physical. This is why many spiritual beliefs and practices won't allow blood transfusions. It's because they believe your own life force, your soul is running through your blood, and therefore you can't take someone else's in. This even dates back to magic now, talking about blood magic, is when people who do blood magic, they're literally binding their own essence, their own energy to whatever they're creating or manifesting. In traditional Chinese medicine, they look at blood as the part of the vital body. It's a part of the life force energy where we hold our chi. And whenever something happens in our emotions, and our emotions are a direct reflection of our energy, the first place in the body it affects is the blood, specifically the coagulation patterns within the blood. So why am I saying all of this? Because ladies, when you menstruate, whenever you have blood, anything you do during that time, especially as it relates to manifestation or if you practice magic or anything like that, it's going to be considered a blood ritual. So please be extra mindful of what you're manifesting while you're on your period, because you are literally tying your blood into that thing. This is why women also have a heightened sense of intuition during that time and were actually considered magical in ancient texts while being on their period. It is also why traditionally most periods are considered to be connected to the moon, because the moon is also a connection to that life force energy, and so we connect to it through our own blood and our own cycles. And as the first video said that I put in there, be mindful on who you do the deed with while on your period, because you are literally tying your life force to that person. And so don't just do it with anyone. But let me know what you guys think in comment.
In the cemetery, the tombstone set from your birthday to 2020 under your name. Why players get shoot up? Cause man, we not get too fucked. Me love it when them young and group up. The boy them soft, like the pillow them inna the ayatollah who no look like fruit in a fruit cup. Boy gone in a mug, but not because of no virus. Him gone in a the mug because the pussy tried out Trinidad. Bad man never mind us, bad man